Hello, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Vietnam. What's going on, everybody? I had some technical difficulties for a second there. I could not get on. My camera wasn't working, so fixed it. Glad everybody's here. Thanks everybody for joining. It's another Mikey show, another live stream where you guys can go ahead and throw anything at me, run me through the gauntlet. Let me see what we've got here. I'm going to address the first. And today I feature a new beer by Stella Artois, 0.0% alcohol. Pretty good stuff, man. And these are better than the Heinekens. These are actually 12-ounce skinny cans, not the Heinekens, which shrinkflation. They give you like 10-ounce cans or 8-ounce cans. It's so lame. So cheers. Okay. Who can has cheeseburger? Cheeseburger sounds good. I know. Cheeseburgers are the best. Yes, here we go. It's time. A shepherd's pie with gravy. Wow. Okay, where are you? You in Great Britain? And the OCD Mikey Show. Good afternoon, Aussie. What is from Australia tribe? What's up, Shane? Good to see you, brother. Yes, Masher says, hey, and the crowd starts to chant. Chicken Alfredo pasta. Everybody's talking about dinner, man. The Masher, I love the name, Total Masher. An Aussie audiophile. What part of Oz? Near Melbourne. Yes, he is. And Geelong, about 70 clicks from Melbourne on the coast. I've got another guy we got Martin in Melbourne. Bring on the master of squirrel food control. Yes, it's right here. Cool. Hey, Nick, what's up? Squirrel will be doing backflips, and yeah. Charles is in the tribe now. Cool. Everybody is catching up. So I guess anybody have anybody want to start with something? If nobody, what's up, Dan? If nobody wants to start with something, I can start with some news or some things that or a subject. You know, a couple things that maybe I'll make some videos on. I was going to make a video on this morning, but I got sidetracked. Is it worth using volume normalization in Rune? No. Many articles state that it only adjusts gain and does not affect the dynamic range in the slightest. Well, if that's true, then sure, fine. But I as far as I know, software volume control truncates bits. So, gotta give it to you, Mikey. Solari, playback is the best musical DAC by a long shot. Now need a good sounding, easy to use streamer to add. Keep it coming. It's a pleasure. Much appreciated. Thanks, Larry. Larry bought an MPD3. He found one of those, which are extremely rare. He got a great price, and it's, even though that is the entry level, there's the 5 and the 8. It's still the best DAC that he's ever heard. And so that is good news for sure. So I had a pretty long talk. I had an hour and a half conversation with Mark Levinson the other day, 2 days ago. And I will be getting a Maria amplifier. I know Charles said don't talk about it, but fuck it. I'm going to be getting a Maria amplifier to check out just because people are going cuckoo over it. I'm closer with Mark than anybody else that's selling these things or that has them or that's reviewed them or whatever. And so I'm just going to go ahead and grab one and suss it out. And because the capabilities of this piece are far greater than other pieces that are out there. In typical fashion, Mark Levinson is above the curve or ahead of the curve with his designs. If we look back on history, Mark has some pretty crazy industry firsts, and he's always ahead of the game. He always, when he introduced things that are industry disruptors, nobody gets it when they first come out, and it takes a little while for them to understand it and to catch up. And I think that's the same kind of with the Maria. The functionality of the Maria is like no other amplifier that I know of. it allows me to sell you an amplifier and then to correct your room real time. I can come on TeamViewer and you hook up your laptop to the amp. I come on TeamViewer and I can tune for your room from my place. You don't even have to worry about it. You just sit back and you tell me, is this better or not? And together we tune your room to your speakers. With that amp, I can tune the amp to your speakers in your room, which is pretty freaking cool. The functionality is something that I've not seen. It is something that I thought of. I always thought to myself, man, it would be so badass to be able to do blah, 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 blah. And Mark has done it. So it's pretty cool. This is for the folks that want kind of an all-in-one solution and really don't want to go too deep into all the, rigmarole, if you will, of hi-fi. Let me ask you guys something. Do you like it? Does it sound better like this? Or does it sound better if I take this little thing and I put it right there, one of these little things? Is it better? Or is it better if I do like this and I talk into the microphone? Is that better? I can do AMSR and talk like this and make noises out of my mouth. You knew that was coming. Anyways, okay. So, the creepy whisper. It is the creepy whisper. Way better clip to my shirt. Okay. Original was better. Oh, we've got two different. If I do like this, shirt collar. Okay, I'll just leave it here for now. That way I don't have to project so much and freak people out, right? I can just talk normal. Okay, let's see. Let me go back. I know my view on preamps. Yeah, preamps are great. I just don't think they're necessary. That said, you think a Rotel is a good brand for a preamp. Thank you, brother. Rotel is a decent brand for anything. Doesn't matter, preamp, amp. They're all in the same, boat. I think it's decent. It's not expensive. And, I might like NAD. I might probably prefer that in the mid-fi realm, which I would consider Rotel kind of like in that mid-fi. It's better than like Sony and Yamaha and stuff, but it's not as good as like Roland and other higher brands. But Rotel is certainly good for the money, man. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing at all. Couldn't agree more with statement that MPD8 is the end game. Totally the end game. MPD8 is the end game. It's the forever DAC. I just sold another one this week, so there. I think I've got one left out of my 5 that are coming up. Have I had any chance to listen to the new GE ones? Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not showing these things. Have I had any chance to listen to the new GE ones from Tad? No, I have not heard those yet, but it's on my list. When I had the CE ones, which I have, CE1TX, I was like, man, what would make this thing better would be a floor standing setup with another woofer, and then they made it. So, but isn't it? It's twice the price, My soft dome tweeter with a dent, usually an easy fix, but it keeps popping back. Oh yeah, I can't stand that, man. If you get it popped out, it probably has got memory. But the good thing is that I don't know that it really hurts it that much. I don't know that it really hurts it, and it's a Dyne Audio Heritage, which is a good piece. Yeah, if you popped it out, did you use a little tape or something like to pull it out? That's typically how we do it with a little tape in reverse. DJ Apache says, "Hey Mikey, anything from CES catch your eye? Consumer Electronics Show? CES. I don't go to CES anymore. Did you mean Capital Audio Fest? Excuse me. You're getting the belches up front too with the microphone there. Anything from Capital Audio Fest? Is that what you meant? Okay, let's see. First, OCD. At what age did Mark know that this field was his strength? I do not know the answer to that, Malcolm. We can ask him. I'll have him on soon. I've told him, look, let's do he's coming on for another interview, and maybe I could bring him on Wednesday night and see if he's willing to do live questions, you know, and answers, which would be cool. Got to get my cheap Bluetooth speaker crap down on me after 2. Yeah, there you go, man. They'll do that. They will do that. Thoughts on Jade as a brand? Great stuff, man. I like it. Well made. What's my take on Bach DSP crosstalk cancellation? These YouTubers are saying this is the cat's ass breakthrough DSP 3D experience. I think it's bullshit. It all depends on, you know, what you dig, man. You know, it all depends on what you dig. Okay. To me, it was, I tried it once. Okay. I tried it at a show. They set up the mics, you know, I sat in the chair and I did it. And it basically sounded like the sound field came up on the sides. So I think it's probably a clever way to make a system that's either, you know, and people are, this is my freaking opinion. All right. I already know that people are going to get upset, and I already know exactly who's going to get upset when I say this. But you know what? You know, do I get to have my own opinion here, or do I have to not tell you my real opinion because I think, you know, somebody with a cowboy hat's going to get all fucking pissed off at me for saying how I feel? But you know, let's just say that I went in, I listened to it, I didn't feel like I need this thing. I felt like, okay, cool, you know, great, interesting. But my system already images like freaking nuts. So for me in my rig, it wouldn't be something that I'm attracted to because my system already images in 3-dimensional. And yeah, the argument's going to be, well, it doesn't correct the blah, 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 this and that, you know, whatever, you know, anomaly and all that crap. But typically, I'm not a DSP guy. Even if DSP can correct for everything, in my system, when I listen to things that are corrected for with DSP, it's not the same as when I correct for it using room treatment and passive means. I find the music to be more effortless when I correct for it passively, even if it's not corrected for perfectly. Okay. Because that's the argument. The argument is, well, this does perfect room correction. This perfectly corrects for the crossphase, intermodulation, whatever the bullshit. I don't even know what they're pitching. So I'm just using that as an example. But I know some people that really love it. You know, one of my customers and friends from long back really loves it. But this is a guy who about every year he's got something new that he loses his mind over, and he calls me up and he freaks out, and it's something, and I don't think he realizes, dude, this is just another one of the things that you're freaking out about, you know. And every time it's the same thing. It's the second coming of Christ. This is the most amazing thing I've ever heard. It's unbelievable. It kills everything I've ever heard, you know, and but that happens every year. So, and that's the only client of mine that I know that has bought this Bach DSP thingy, and he likes it. But again, I take that with a grain of salt from this particular guy because he's got something every year, and he likes tweaks. And then this tweak, oh, this magic gel, you know, did this amazing stuff. I can't believe it. Never heard anything like it. It's incredible. It's the best thing. But it's always like that. So, the jury is out now. I would be willing to listen to it again and go through the whole process. And this is out of respect for somebody else in the industry, Jason, out of respect, you know, because Jason's an old customer of mine. Okay. This is Jason, the cowboy hat dude. Okay. Audio file junkie. He's really into it, right? He really loves this stuff. Jason's an old customer of mine. He loved my cables. So I respect Jason. We've got a history together. So
out of respect for Jason and his shtick and what he's really into, I would check it out again and give it a complete open mind to it. But before he was all involved and into it, I tried it and I was like, okay, this is cool. I get it. I understand it. But I wasn't like, I need this thing. And as you know, I can have anything in the industry that I want and get it at great accommodation. So it wasn't one of those things. But I would listen to it again. Maybe it's been improved now or something like that. So that's where I am on that thing. The jury's out. I don't have a complete judgment on it. So hope that helps. JDM UK Yank just popped it out, pushing on the edge. It comes out easy enough, but goes right back in. I'm skipping that one. I don't even know what that's in referral to, but that sounds naughty. Mikey Rocks, thanks, Rich. Rich is a guitarist, man. Nick is on here too. Nick and Rich are both on here right now. You should see Nick. You ought to see Rich's guitar collection. Holy crap. Rich, I'm going to have you sometime go on. I was looking at Les Pauls yesterday, and I don't know how to pick them, bro. And there's a bunch of them on Facebook Marketplace, so you'll have to let me know. I'm gonna tell you one. I'm gonna ask you one day, pretty please, will you go on Facebook Marketplace? Tell me which one I need to buy. We'll do it that way. Maybe you still have something that we can trade, but I want a Les Paul. I don't want a Telly, even though that Telly was pretty wicked. Hey, Mike, I use Rune Labs for my music. Is JPlay a better sounding music software? JPlay. That's the JCat thing? I don't know. I've never tried it, man, so I can't answer. I don't know. I do like Marcine's designs, so I would imagine it's pretty good, but I don't know. What do I think of Vitas Audio? I don't really have a call on Vitas Audio, man. I don't know enough about it. Seems like it's cool. Seems like it's cool. Seems like it's good stuff. Like I just don't know anything about it. So, yeah. So that's where that is. It is okay to have different opinions in this hobby. If we're all the same, it would be boring. Yeah, isn't that the truth? Yes. Steve says playing an inverse signal out of the opposing speaker puts extra stress on the amp and speakers. It had to have an effect on dynamics and headroom. Okay, is that what Bach DSP does, Steve? I really don't know. To each their own is how I look at everything. Absolutely, to each their own. You know, there's the people that are right, and then there's the people that are wrong. To each their own. I'm kidding. I don't really look at it that way. Everybody has, especially in hi-fi, it's total your taste, man. It's whatever. But typically it falls into two groups. You're either into the gear, you're into the music, you're either into analysis of sonic presentation, or you're into music and the story behind it, you know? So that's typically it. Hey, Mikey in the tribe, what's up, Arun? How are you, man? You enjoying your DAC? I know that Alan's on here. Alan just got his DAC 07, and he sent me a text today that said, Mikey, the DAC 07 is phenomenal. It's just, and he gave a little description. Let me see. Let me look this up for you, and I'll find the description that Alan gave. And Alan, you can, if you want, you can chime in. Oh, here you are. You got to go to bed really early, typically 9:30 because of work. Uh-oh. Okay, so let's bring you on, Alan. Okay, so Alan, I'm going to send you, let me get the link here. Okay, I'm going to copy this. Okay, and I'm going to go here. And this is actually for anybody, but we're going to bring Alan on too. And then, so here is the link if anybody wants to join as a guest. So Alan, just grab that, the link that I just posted. And at the bottom here, if you, you guys can see to the bottom, or do you need me to scroll to the bottom? Here's the link. If anybody wants to copy that, you can come on as a guest. But you know, I ask if you come on as a guest, stay straight and to the point. Don't ramble on about all the things you have had in the past and all that kind of stuff. Which is just it's like a default. People always go into the things they've had and all that stuff. But let's stick to the point, because you know we got a lot of people watching. So that is the link. But I'm going to go back to where I was before. Yep. Okay. Which was right here. Arun. Okay. Can I explain the potential benefit of flat panel corner mounted bass traps? No, I cannot. Crosstalk cancellation sounds like headphone type effects. Yes, that's kind of what I felt. I felt like it was a giant headphone thing, and it did feel like an effect. That's a great way to put it, because the Bach thing, it didn't seem natural to me. It felt like an effect. Now maybe that just needs more time to break, like for me to get used to it or something, because maybe your brain isn't used to that or something. But it did sound like an effect, and I was like, okay, my system already does this, so I don't need this in my rig, because my rig already, they had some smaller speakers in the room, and it was doing what my big rig did. So I'm like, okay, so they're making a small ass, nothing rig really do image like a big rig. So I could see how it would be useful for people that maybe don't have a lot of space or don't want to do a big rig or whatever. But I mean, I'm sure there's the perfect buyer for it. I love DSP over. I had speakers that don't need it, and there is a time and place for DSP. Cool. That's true. Okay, Alan, you ready to go, buddy? Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to add Alan here. Hey, buddy.
I don't know if I can hear. I was getting like crazy ass echoes.
Oh, okay. Can you hear? Can you hear?
But I can't hear a word. I can't hear a word you're saying. I think it's because
you can't. Okay.
Something in here. Hold on. Because I was getting some crazy echoes, and I was like, all right, let's screw it. Let's just go with my Bluetooth setup. But
okay. See if can you hear it? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Everybody, this is Alan Ure. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up? All right, getting some background noise. I can it's like a delay. I can hear like us talking from 3 seconds ago.
Oh, sorry, man. So do you want to tell Alan just got a DAC 07, and how do you like it?
Oh man, I mean, it's all right. So I'm not gonna I won't get into the history, but when people give descriptions like it just plays music, it just plays music, I'm like, dude, come on. I mean, what does that even mean? I want more than that. Like, give me the details. But I hate to say it, but like it plays. It just plays the song.
It just plays music.
And it's weird because I've heard songs, and you can get into you hear this particular instrument or this bass and that, and you hear the visuals. You can definitely get a sense of like where the performance is taking place, but you can have a collection of notes and you can have a song.
Yeah.
And what this DAC was doing was, I was actually listening, and I was like, holy shit, musicians are actually making this music. Like, you can feel like there's a groove. There's bands that previously I kind of thought sucked or were not really like serious musicians, but like listening to the same songs with this DAC, it's like, damn, they're actual musicians. Like, there's a groove in there. Like, you can feel kind of like the vibe. And I did tweak it a little bit, and I'll tell you, all the tweaks, they just took away from the musicality. Like the feet, I was messing with the feet, and then I put some pretty expensive stuff on there, and those little spongy feet, they look like they're nothing, but it just works with what it is.
Yeah, he's got it tuned to just be beautiful the way it is. It doesn't really need any help. It's a cumulative effect.
Unreal. And he's definitely a scroll food type of person, because you can tell the details and choosing different capacitors. Oh, one thing though, if you're going to run it, go RCA out, because the XLR, it's not 4 volts. It's right. Not like a bounce XLR. So
right. Yep. Yeah. So there, he just, I just, yeah. So if it would be 60, well, normally you should get 6 dB. I can ask him about that. So you're saying it's not 4 volts? You get a stronger signal out of the RCA?
Yeah. So I ran an XLR first, and I was like, what's up with this? I have to crank up my amp a lot, my preamp. And I was like, that's weird. It was sounding a little bit off in the beginning. So I emailed him, and I was like, why do I have to crank it up? I mean, it should be the same. But He says he does something different. I didn't get into what he does differently. He said try the RCA. Everyone says RCA sounds better, and I was like, oh great. Now I gotta go build an RCA cables. So
Yeah, there you go.
Just built a couple of them, fully shielded, of course, with the drain wire to ground and all that crap.
There you go. Attaboy.
Yeah, whole Faraday cage and everything. So that took a few days. But man, I mean, it's unreal, and RCA is way better than the XLR output.
Yeah,
and,
cool.
Yeah.
Typically, and a lot of times people will ask me, what's better, like a blanket statement, XLR or RCA? And it really has to do with how the piece is built. Typically speaking, XLR is going to be better when it's implemented in the proper, fully balanced manner. And I'm not sure how he's doing his balanced outputs. I can find out and ask him. But I doubt he's splitting phase using a transformer. I don't think he's doing any of that. So yeah. And I remember one time Ivana Manley saying the same thing. She had a preamp that I bought, a Manley preamp. And well, what's going to sound better, the XLR circuit or the RCA? And she just say RCA, because the XLR is just something we put on there. But typically, XLR is better if you can have a balanced rig from front to back. Balanced would typically be lower noise. But so that's good to know about the RCA.
I will say one thing that happened is a buddy of mine said, hey, can you fix my record player? And I said, all right, let me see it. Hooked it up to my system. I'd never listened to a record on my system before.
Mm-hmm.
So hooked it up. And this was like $150 piece of crap. I had a Joni Mitchell record my uncle lent me. So I put it on. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be nothing compared to what I'm used to. And this is before the new OnTech. And I play it, and I was like, holy shit! Like it was unreal.
Sounded killer, huh?
Not because what was there, but what wasn't there. I didn't realize that there is this like anxiety-inducing digital, invisible sound. It's not highs, it's not lows. You don't hear it, but you can kind of feel it.
Yes.
And you listening to the record, it was like clear. It was like you could just it was like, where is it? It's gone. And then
you want to know what that is?
What is that?
That is your brain picking up on the anomaly of listening to a non-linear waveform that comes out of a DAC. So a non-linear waveform is a step function that's making a sine wave, right? It's like modeling it in a step function. So there's little, for lack of a better term, it's almost like there's little gaps in the smoothness of
pulse width modulation and stuff.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you don't really notice it's there per se, but your brain gets fatigued from it. DSD is something that does a different conversion, and there's something like, for instance, the playback designs DAC. There's something about the playback designs, and actually even something about this new OnTech that is the new OnTech's PCM DAC, but somehow he has managed to make that thing sound smooth and not tweak that little,
exactly
thing, the little nerve or whatever.
And usually they do that by kind of blurring things or making things less high resolution. I don't want to say high resolution because people think that's like highs and stuff, or like you're cranking up the EQ on it. It's not. The new OnTech, you hear everything. I hear details I've never heard before, but they're just naturally presented. But I don't get that. I get the same thing I get from a record. I don't get that and my wife, who's not a fan of my rig, not a fan of any of this stuff, thinks it's a waste of time. She can hear the difference. I mean,
yeah,
she's like that weird energy is not there. So,
and I spend a lot of time looking for gear that has this sort of a result. And this was something typically I wouldn't sell a DAC that's $2,500 because it wouldn't be up to snuff. But when I heard this thing, I was like, okay, this is something different, And then I was so glad, because for folks that 2,500 is their budget, then awesome. I can include more people in what I'm doing, and what we're all doing. So super cool, man. I'm glad to hear about your results.
All right, now I'm going to say for the MPD-8,
There you go, buddy.
All right.
All right, man.
Cool.
Thanks
All right.
for
Signing
joining.
off.
All right, man.
Yeah.
See ya.
See ya.
Okay, cool. Thanks for joining us, Alan. So that was regarding the new OnTech DAC 07, which is the piece that I've featured, the $2,500 DAC. Again, it just gets music right. There are people in this industry and designers in this industry that know how to make musical sounding things that still have great detail. Just because it's musical, some people think musical means soft or rolled off. Doesn't mean that. Musical and means natural. At least when I use it, I mean natural, something that connects you to the music. So that is that's a great endorsement there. And he just got it. He's only had it a couple days. Arun, who's watching too, presumably right now, also has one, and he loves it as well. So let me get some more things up. Heard Magnapans for the first time today. LRS Plus. Holy blank. Just wow, blew my socks off. I know, isn't it great? I mean, nothing images like Magnapans. Magnapans do something magic. Other panel speakers can do it too, but there's something about a Magnapan that's just like, you get it. Even with the LRS Plus, which is $1,000 per pair. You're like, oh my God, are you kidding me? This thing punches so far above its price point. It's not even funny. So I'm glad you got to check that out, Chaz. Charles Harrison, is Mark Levinson's new technology like DSP? It is DSP. It is all in the it's an algorithm. It's in this chip. And it is he's got a process that he does to everything that goes through his DAC has this certain process done to it that makes PCM sound more like analog. Now, you know, the new OnTech DAC does it in a different way. I'm not sure how he does what he does to get that sonic result, but Mark has gone so far as to have the waveform changed, to treat the waveform in the chip digitally before it's converted, to give it more of an analog sound. And Mark's is patented, you know, process. So it is DSP and it's included, and Mark's amp does more than you guys know about. And the guys that are talking about it online, I don't think they're quite aware of what can be done with that amp. I'll have it shortly. I like room correction as long as it's not digital. Analog side, no problem. Yeah, I can relate. I can relate. Filters suck. You know how I feel. No crossovers, no DSP. Yeah, I mean, there's a group of us, man. I mean, I'll use a crossover, and I understand their inherent weaknesses. And but the DSP, I still haven't heard one that doesn't feel like something's up. Broski, got to hit the sack. Okay, that was the guy that just was with us, Alan. With floor standing speakers, is it better to have more woofers in a smaller cone size or less woofers in a bigger size? Depends on what you're after, man. Usually, if you're doing smaller cone size and more woofers, you're trying to fit it into a certain size. You have size constraints. That's typically why you do that. Also, some people claim smaller woofers are faster, you know, because there's less mass to move. Let's just say I've never heard any bass the way a 21-inch woofer does bass. There's nothing like it. In fact, I'll be putting those into my new room shortly. So Arun says the new OnTech DAC 7 is a beauty. It brought back real deep low end and clarity in my system. It's a bit forward right now, but I believe it will get better with burn-in. Yeah, you are one of the few. I can talk to you more about what cables you're using and what you're doing in your what might be making it forward, because this is definitely not a forward sounding DAC. So it should relax as it breaks in. Typically what things do, they're usually can be forward at first. But if it doesn't change, then it's something else in your rig. It's definitely not the DAC, because this is not a forward sounding DAC. I recently found out that I have slight hearing loss due to playing in bands and going to concerts without hearing protection. Yeah, that sucks. Should get one shouldn't one get their hearing tested before buying hi-fi? I don't think so, man. I mean, who cares? Like I had ear operations when I was little where they cut my eardrum and put a tube in it, to let water out that I got from swimming, ear infection. So I don't think I can hear very high either. But I can definitely, I know how to tune a rig, and I definitely know how to hear good hi-fi, and I definitely know how to recreate it. So I don't think you need, I think you don't need to get your hearing tested before buying hi-fi. You need to listen to the hi-fi before getting hi-fi. It's like saying, should I not buy a Ferrari? Should I go and get my driving skills tested before I buy a Ferrari? Shouldn't I go to driving racing school before I buy a GT3? Not necessarily. No, you buy the damn GT3 regardless, just because you enjoy it. So if you enjoy hi-fi, who cares how good or how poor your hearing is if you're enjoying what you buy? That's the bottom line. Nick, yeah, you want a Les Paul for that rig. They work perfectly together. I think so too, man. That's what I'm thinking. Silver or copper cables, and why? It depends on personal taste. Silver is usually more extended. I think well done silver cables that are done high purity silver, they're smooth. They're not sharp. I like silver better than copper in every application. There are other people that will sit and argue till the cows come home that, you want copper. I just don't think they've heard good silver. That's my feeling about that. So to me, if I have a choice and they're high quality silver cables, I'll choose silver every time, just because there's more information retrieval from it. Yes, that's what Bach does in a simple explanation. Okay, inverts one side. Again, here is the link if anybody wants to copy and paste. Anybody's welcome to join. If you guys want to join with your questions or whenever, you can come on the stream with me. Feel free to do that. And then also, while I got you guys here, give me a thumbs up, please. Support the channel. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. And just if you don't want to subscribe or whatever, because I don't know, just feel weird about it, you don't want anybody to know or something, at least give a thumbs up, which helps the channel in the algorithm or whatever. I don't even know. I guess it helps, but so I'm asking for it. And then, of course, go to 11stereo.com to talk with me. You'll get me on the phone. I'll answer the phone. I'll actually pick up the phone and I will consult with you about your system. And I am available to sell you stuff. So if you want to buy stuff, I'm your man. And I'm not the guy that leaves you in the lurch or just wants to sell you something and disappear. I actually want to make sure that you cross the line with your hi-fi rig. So give me your biz or forever hold your peace. Okay, so let's see. Where did I drop off? Oh, there it was. I went way past it. Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we are. Okay, wide speakers, heavily towed versus narrow position, firing straight ahead. Absolutely, without a doubt, wide speakers, heavily towed. Absolutely. The other way, there's no expansiveness to it. I like the speakers to be wide so it casts a ghost image in the middle of the room. So I always do my speakers that way. Above 100 hertz, DSP causes problems. I'll bet, man. That makes sense. Yeah, only use DSP for the bass, which is what I've always known to be true. Okay, you have to turn your YouTube off after joining StreamYard. Oh, okay, I got you. Dave Olson says, hey, Dave, what's up, buddy? He felt like DSP mimicked a near-field system. Okay, so that's cool. That means, yeah, that would make sense, because if DSP corrects for room anomalies, so does near-field. Near-field, you're close to the speakers, so you're not involving the room so much, right? So yes, that's XLR is better. I agree, XLR is better. Are RCA, you're going through a cap. Yes, and RCA, as Jeff Rowland says, is consumer grade. Yeah, it's not pro level. It's consumer grade. Steve says it is Bach is phasing errors from the DAC. Oh, it is phasing errors from the DAC right now, Mikey. Yeah, okay. I thought you were talking about Bach. Yes. Hey Shane, how are you, buddy? I can see you, man. All right, so we're gonna take a second here. Let me get rid of this one, and we are gonna add Shane, our Aussie audiophile. Hey Shane, g'day, mate.
Hey tribe, hey everyone, Mikey.
G'day, Kava.
How are you, mate?
Good, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I just thought I'd have a chat to you about a few things that are going on, and as I said, I love your support of my fledgling little channel. It's starting to build, and I appreciate any of the shout outs that I get from the loyal tribe that you have built over the years. They're all feel like they're friends of mine as well. So
Yes.
I love being part of your tribe and want to grow your tribe here too.
It's our tribe, man. It's not my tribe. It's all of us. It's ours.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you're right. And that's the way I'm trying to build my thing as well. I'm trying to make it interactive so that people, don't feel silly about asking questions, because there's no such thing as a silly question. The only silly question is the one you don't ask.
That's right. Yeah.
So,
typically this industry will make you feel like an idiot. They want you to think everything's rocket science so that you don't understand what's going on, so that they can bring out stuff like MQA and all these other formats and big buzzwords and stuff like that to keep you in the loop of buying and chasing your tail, and make you feel stupid or less than. And so the tribe is different, man, and you fit in perfect with us, and we're glad to have you down in Oz, man.
Yeah, well, I love being a part of it, mate. I really do. And at some point I'll be over there to see you, and hopefully one day you'll be down here to see me, and oh boy, will we run amok.
You know it, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I just wanted to touch base about the whole DSP thing as well, because I have used in the past a mini DSP SHD. I had it in my system when my system was lesser than what it is now. So at that point, I could see some benefits in having it in the room. Now that was also before I'd set my room up with the right room treatments, and I know we've touched on that a couple of times, and I've spoken about that in comments on some of your stuff as well. That getting the room acoustics right, does make a huge difference, and you don't tend to need that kind of thing after you've, everything's going to be a fad, right? I mean, you're going to have the next thing, as you were saying before. In fact, I was actually in town at a coffee shop when your live stream started, and I've just shot back home again.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm not far away from the city where I live. So I got home just so I could come on and say hello and just talk a little bit about that, and about agreeing with you that it tends to be when you've got deficiencies in other areas, you can rely on that kind of thing to try and square things up. But when you get your system right, and you get to that point, then those sort of things. I mean, look, mine's sitting over here, unplugged in the corner.
Yep. That's your mini DSP.
Yeah. So I mean, I must sell it because it's it's going to be worth something to somebody, but I don't need it anymore.
Yeah, I hear you. I say the same thing. People ask about, and the same thing can be said for file formats. And I'm sure that you can attest to this. When you get the MPD-8, you don't even pay attention to file format anymore. It doesn't matter 1644, 24192, DSP or DSD 124. It doesn't matter. You're just like,
it doesn't matter. Yeah, I agree. I tell you what, the biggest party trick for that MPD-8 is 1644.1. My God. I mean, you sit there and you go, and sometimes I'll look at the screen and go, what am I playing here? Because this could be DSD times 4, and it just sounds that good.
Yes. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, isn't it? That's
So
great.
look, I'm a massive fan of the Dream Stack that I've got here, and I've actually eventually, and this is a little update too, I've got the Rune core working in the, and I know they don't do that anymore, as you rightly pointed out. But mine is the first version, which had the Rune core and the 2 terabyte hard drive. So that's all working eventually. It went back over to Andreas, and he had to put a new power supply in the back of the MPT8, and also change the memory. Another 2 terabyte memory thing went in there. So that's all I know at this point. I'm actually going to try and see if I can get him to have a chat to me on the channel at some point too, which would be really, really good, seeing I've got, in this country, about 70 grand's worth of his stuff.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. Yep. I'm sure he'd be happy to.
Yeah, well, I mean, we sort of, I absolutely agree with his philosophy. But another thing I just wanted to touch on too is, I know we had a little chat about Wilsons, and I wasn't sure whether you'd realised that I have I have Wilsons. I have Alexias, and
Show them to us. Let's see.
Yeah, and this is one of the reasons why I wanted to come on, because I'd never fight with you, brother. You know that, but I wanted to. I just wanted to give you my perspective. At the moment, I've got, which I can turn around, I've got some Zengalis in the room here. See those?
Yep.
And I've got those in here because I'm just having a bit of a look at them for the channel. But my Wilsons, and let's have a little show and tell. Here they are. They're actually sitting out here with a cover on them.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oh, and the tops are off.
Yeah, the tops. Let's have a walk. We can have a walk.
Okay.
Here are the tops.
Oh wait, wait. What's outside? Show me, like, through the window.
Oh yeah, this is out the back.
Oh, yeah, it's
this
pretty.
Is a beautiful sunny day. You've got a nectarine tree there, which is full of fruit.
Oh, nice. Where's the ruse?
Yeah.
Where's the ruse bouncing around?
Oh yeah, man. They're out. I can take you out and show you ruse. Oh man, can I do that?
Are you kidding?
Yeah, this is and it's a beautiful day out here, as you can see.
Oh yeah, look at that. It's pretty and sunny and warm.
Yeah, it's about 20. I don't know what it is in your numbers, but in my numbers, it's about 26 degrees C here today, and
yeah, okay.
And sun's out. It's early afternoon, so it's pretty cool. But back on the Wilsons.
Yeah.
I had to get the electronics right. That was the and it's what we go to. And remember, I said to you a while ago, I said, I wonder what the Wilsons would sound like with the playback designs. I mentioned that ages ago to you, and you said you weren't sure, you hadn't heard it, but all I can say is the musicality of the MPD8 combined with the Vitus monos, which have just got this magic Class A, beautiful liquid mid-range, and the musicality of the Dream Stack, and it really brought the whole system up to a level where, I'm not looking for anything else again. I just put some new tweeter diaphragms and new resistors in the Wilsons, and look, I'm just really pleased. It's not forward. It's lovely and balanced. Those things are that big in my room that they'll pressurize the room. Seriously, but and so I never need to drive them hard or anything like that.
Yeah, I got a little taste of that when I was at that other YouTuber's house, where he had Wilsons and MSB and Boulder and all that. And at one point we had playback designs, because I had brought playback designs and the Roland, and I heard the Wilsons with playback designs and Roland, and I was like, okay, so maybe there's some promise here. It was still, the speakers were still very big in a very small sort of they were very kind of overpowering in the configuration we had them. But anyway, so I'm glad to know that. And then I also had one other experience at CES one year. We had Wilson Sasha, and by the way, Stevie, I see you waiting there, buddy. You're up next. Wilson Sasha 2s, and they sounded great. It was the first time I got this, was 12 years ago or something like that. And Wilson came in and set up, and it was at CES, and we were in the Venetian, and I was like, okay, I get Wilson now. Like, up until then, I didn't even get what the hoopla was. And then, you know, I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I get it now, man. This sounds good. So I think they're just very room dependent, and I think they need to be set up, just dialed in perfectly for them
Yeah.
to sound
Now,
the best.
and I guess, yeah, I agree with you completely. That I guess is the crux of the whole. What I wanted to get across to the tribe is once you get. I mean, my background's in sound engineering, right? So, I mean, I've been a tracking engineer, a mastering engineer. I've done live music. I sort of get the idea. That's where I originally started from, and then I've been in high-end audio for 35 years, probably all up now, showing my age. But the thing is, you've got to get them set up right, and they are component dependent. You've got to have everything. I mean, look, that's probably the case in most systems, right? I mean, you know, you can fall over by changing things and being on that merry-go-round, but once you get it right, then you know, I close my eyes and I sit there and I just, you know, the person that's singing to me feels like they're in the room with me, and it's not forward, and it's not lacking in anywhere, or it's not forward in any frequency. It just seems really right, as good as I, you know, I'm really happy with it. But it's about getting it right. You've got to get everything right, and you know, living's learning, right? Every day's a new day, and sometimes, I mean, look, and I think I wrote in there, like, I've had misconceptions about things, or not misconceptions, but I've formed opinions about things, right? And gone, I don't like that for that reason. But then I've listened to it again a little later on and gone, oh, Jesus, maybe I better think twice about that. And the other thing too is I heard the Sasha V's at the recent Melbourne Hi-Fi show, and they were in too big a room. They were lost. They sounded horrible. And that's the current Sasha V, and that sounded like absolute arse compared to, you know, what I've got in my room.
Yeah, it's a shame to see how poorly sometimes rooms can be set up. It's like, wow, man, do they not get it? I mean, like, come on, this is like elementary if you're an audio professional, you know, how to set up this room. You know?
Well, you would think so, but I don't know whether it is, because there's a lot of people that fail in that area. I mean, I heard lovely things about your room, but I also know that the extent you went to get that room right. And that's what, I mean, that's what makes and breaks you. It's man. It's getting that right from the beginning, because the first person that come in there is going to judge you as sure as they're standing in your room.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Well, hey, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say thanks, brother, for letting me have a chat. Always love talking with you and the tribe, and hopefully we can talk a little bit about if they want to jump over and see another like-minded guy like yourself. And Aussie Audiophile's the place to be, and there's plenty of room to share and be subscribing to both channels.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, go. You can find Shane's channel is an Aussie Audiophile. You'll find it on YouTube. And go there, show him our support, sign up, subscribe to his channel, and he's got some great stuff to say. You do a much better job than I do at editing and putting a video together, man.
Mate, I look like a duck. I look calm on the top, but I'm paddling like hell underneath.
All right, my brother. Well, thanks.
All right, man. It's good to talk to you, mate. Take care.
Likewise, Shane. Okay, take care, man. See you. Okay, thank you, Shane. He's our Aussie audiophile. He's the leg of the Hi-Fi tribe down in Oz. And now I'm going to add to the stage here Steve from Bedrock Audio. Steve is our Florida edge. Yeah, here he is. He's paddling. He's like
this is Shane. This is Shane. I love that analogy. You know.
Yes. So Stevie, I'll give them a quick. Steve designs speakers, and he does open baffle granite speakers, which we will bring to your guys' attention when he's got them in production. But he's got a great patent on the baffle that makes them special and different than other open baffle speakers, and especially than any other granite open baffle speaker, which I only think there's maybe one other company that does it. So
there's one company that started up that showed at Capital Audio Fest briefly. So that's interesting that they had a granite speaker, but it looks pretty interesting. You know, I wish him luck. I wish him well. Hey, Shane is a great guy. I like him.
Yeah.
He's
He is.
terrific.
He's good stuff,
Yeah.
man.
Well,
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring into the discussion that, and everybody that's listening, everybody talks about measurements and getting their room flat, and using DSP to get rid of bumps in the room and all that stuff. And in my opinion, the thing that makes music sound not natural, or you have that digital hash, is when you have timing errors, and that's everything. That our ears are so much more capable of picking up microseconds, milliseconds of difference in timing, because we evolved that way.
Yeah, it's fighter. It's our limbic brain, our limbic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's flight or fright. Fight or flight, exactly. And it's amazing how sensitive we are to that. And like what Alan said about how he didn't realize it was there until it wasn't there. When he was hearing that. That's what that is. I'm thinking. I read an article that it's down to somewhere around 6 or 7 microseconds that we can pick up.
Wow.
Just tiny amount with that. So the measurements of a DAC and all that stuff that everybody's pursuing, the audio science review guys, they just don't get it. They don't understand. And that is exactly why I don't like crossovers, because crossovers cause phase distortion. Crossovers impede the signal in one way or another. And that's why I'm such an advocate of a single driver and a single point source in space. So, because everything's in time as best it can be. And we're so sensitive to it. Room reflections, room interactions that cause, phase cancellations and errors. And that's what screws up. That's why your room's so important. That's why, instead of DSP, you got to get your room right first.
Yeah. Very important.
So I would just want to say to everybody listening that the timing of everything is the most important thing in making it sound natural. I mean, yes, you shouldn't have like some crazy out of whack frequency response. You shouldn't have, massive amounts of distortion. But if you have the timing stuff right, and that's what an MPD8 does, by the way, gets it right. That's what makes it sound more natural.
Yeah.
And and that's what I'm chasing like a mad dog. Like that's the squirrel I'm chasing.
You're doing good though, man. I was quite impressed. I went to Steve's place on my way when I was picking up a Ducati down in Florida, and I dropped by Steve's. My girlfriend and I came by there, and I was really impressed, man. And he was using really inexpensive kind of setup. I mean, the speakers were beautiful. But I mean, even the drivers, he wasn't going into the high buck drivers, and the result was very, very impressive. It was like I could have sat there all day and listened to music, for sure. So it was great, man. I have high hopes for you, buddy.
Yeah, and you heard the previous prototype. You haven't heard the latest version, which I actually, the other thing that I do is a near field subwoofer, which a lot of people haven't experienced. If you can get the subwoofer close to you, you basically eliminate a lot of the room problems that bass causes. So
yes, that's true. Yeah, Steve has the subwoofers in a coffee table configuration, so the subs are close to you. So it makes sense from a time standpoint. It's
right. So the initial wave off that woofer is hitting you, and you're hearing it before the room can interact with it and cancel it. So it's that's my concept. I really wanted to try to make the satellite speakers be as coherent and time correct as possible, and then have the best bass solution right next to you. And that's basically my concept. And again, I'm just chasing timing errors. That's what I'm doing.
Yes. Well, it's working, man. Yeah. You've done great.
Well, I can't wait till you come down here, but I also want to come up and hear that Maria amp, because I hear great things about it. And I'm not like anti DSP. I'm not so close-minded. I'd love to hear what Mark Levinson has come up with. And if he can make a perfect waveform doing DSP, well, great.
Yeah,
That's what I'd love to hear that, you know. So
yeah,
you know,
I'll definitely let you know when I've got it in hand, and you can drop by.
all right,
Yeah.
excellent.
Okay, man.
So,
Well, hey, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
thanks, guys. All
Okay,
right,
man.
I'll let you know when they're on the market. You'll see them. All
Sounds
right.
good, man. We'll do a video. We'll bring it to market. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay, man.
Thanks.
Okay.
Talk
Cheers.
to you soon.
See you.
Cheers.
Okay, so that was Steve DeHard, man. Good guy. Part of the gang. Part of our tribe. Okay, so I'll get back into the comments. Look at the drummer from Def Leppard. He has one arm. Doesn't mean he shouldn't play drums. Exactly, right? Maggie's dipoles are a taste. Okay, I'll argue this, dude, all day long. I mean, it's you either know what music sounds like or not. Now, to say it vocalists do not have vocal cords at the back of their heads, that's silly. It doesn't sound like that to me. I don't know what you're hearing, but there's ways to control that back reflection. So, hey, if you don't like it, don't buy it. There's plenty of us that will. Yep, and Ozzy was up, and Steve is down for a chat. You guys were there. Dan says, hey, Mikey, saw you use Vinny Rossi L2i tube integrated, the one with dual 6SN7s, dual triout on the market for $10K. Is this a piece worth getting at the price point in your opinion? What do you have right now? I would have to say, what do you have? I'd have to know what speakers you have, kind of get an idea. I don't know what the L2i, which that's dual 6SN7. I know that typically 6SN7 is one of the more microphonic tubes. But it sounds tubey, that's the one that people like because it sounds tubey. It's typically a guitar amp tube, 6SN7. So I don't know too much about it. I think Vinny Rossi is great stuff. I like Vinny. I think it's in a certain price point. I think and maybe 10K is worth. I don't know what the retail was and how old it is. I've never owned one of those. Let's see. Here's Zipper. Shane, any luck on getting Sen Grand Chi-Fi DAC for testing? I think he did. You can answer, Shane. Or no, you had the other thing. What are Falcon acoustic speaker like, Mike? I have no idea. Good to see an Aussie hi-fi channel. Yes, for sure. Yeah, he says thanks. Steve says thanks, man. We need APL versus Sen Grand versus PBD versus M Labs shootout. Yeah, it's hard to do all these things because the APL that I have, I've got the APL DSD MR, has no volume control. So you kick things right in the balls at that point because now you got to use a preamp, and preamp greatly is going to change how a DAC is going to sound in any given rig. The Playback Designs does not need a preamp. Sen Grand is some Chinese bullshit as far as I'm concerned. So why is it even? I mean, what I don't understand what you're after. Like, why do we want to compare some Chinese bullshit with APL Playback Designs and M Labs? You think that somehow it's going to magically be as good as these other DACs? I mean, some people you just have to slap them in the face. You got to put the fire under their ass and burn them, If you want me to burn this Sen Grand to a frickin' crisp, I will, bro. But there's no freaking Chinese DAC that can come close to a Playback Designs. I don't give a shit how much you think it's going to do it. It doesn't. They don't. They don't design. They copy shit. Okay. Second of all, we get into the conversation. Why would you even want to promote a effing Chinese company? You can't try and go there and practice your own religion, dude, in public and see what happens. See what happens if you try and do Falun Gong. Go into public and do yoga in the square and see what happens to you, bro. You're gonna you potentially face getting arrested, and they're gonna beat the living piss out of you, and then throw you in a meat wagon and take you somewhere. Who knows what's gonna happen there? Okay, but it's a fucked up country. Excuse my language. you know? And why would you even want to promote shit coming out of that country? It's like, dude, I don't understand why people don't get this in their freaking heads, dude. You know, I mean, do you give a shit about people or do you not give a shit about people? Yeah, I'm on a rant. Yeah, I'm talking with too loud and all that bullshit. But you know what? I'm passionate about this shit. I love people. And I'm going to promote some bullshit ass DAC from a country that enslaves its people, that doesn't give them the freedom to talk about anything. They can't talk out and express their mind. They can't express their own religion. Are you freaking crazy? You're telling me about some freaking DAC from a country like that? You want to support that shit? You want to put it on the same pedestal as fucking Playback Designs and MLabs and APL? Dude, it's ludicrous. You know, this kind of shit, just, it's like, I can only take so much of it, you know? And again, Goose Freba, okay? Chill out. Excuse me if I said the F word, okay? But I don't get this pumping Chinese bullshit. You know, get away from me with that shit. You know, I don't want it. My viewers don't want it. We don't want Chinese bullshit, bro. We don't want that shit. So if you want to go into the little Chinese camp and have your DAC because it's so much cheaper, you know, and that's your little boner is because it's cheaper. You got a cheapness boner. Okay, great, dude. Get your cheapness boner away from me. And don't try and tell me it's as good as the Playback Designs, the guy who has a patent on freaking the guy who invented sample rate conversion. Okay, now you're going to tell me some Chinese copycat can do as good for a fraction of the cost from a country that you can't even speak your mind, you can't practice your religion because you're under the control of a totalitarian government that will jail you for some shit? I mean, come on, bro. I mean, what do you think this is? So look, nothing against you, but stop with the Chinese bullshit. This is the wrong channel for that shit, bro. Okay, this is the wrong channel. I love people. I care about freedom in the globe. I don't support control of society. I don't support control of the masses. Okay, at least let us, you're going to control it. Do it in a different way, man. Make us, control us with this shit in the banking system or some shit like we do here. But still, let us at least speak our mind about stuff. Okay, if I talk like this in China, I'd probably have, you know, like guys with guns at my door and take me out and beat the piss out of me because I said some shit like that. So if you want to support that, it doesn't help anything in the world. It makes the world a worse place if we buy and support that kind of shit. Now, don't argue with me about, oh, the phone's made in China, all that other stuff. We can't draw the line there, but we can draw the line with Chi-Fi. So please spare me the bullshit about the Chi-Fi being compared to the other stuff. There's no way I want to support it in any way, shape, or fashion. And I'm not even saying that it's not good stuff. Did you hear me at once say it's not good? No, it could be good, okay? But I'm not supporting that country. I'm not supporting how they treat their people, okay? I'm against it. I stand against it. I boycott it, okay? My tribe boycotts that shit. So our tribe boycotts that shit. Huh. So hopefully I got my feelings across. Derek Wong, selling any NOS tubes from your stash? No, Derek, I'm not, my brother. But it's a good question because I don't use them, you know, but I know that they're harder and harder to find. And so I hang on to what I have, and I've got some real beauties. How much you selling the mini DSP for, Aussie audiophile? Maybe Daniel Miller, you know, will want it. It's going to be some pretty decent shipping charges, probably. Hi-res Audio Costa. Okay, Costa's the guy with the truck, man. I ditched my DSP with Dirac Live, room correction, and use a different DSP. Okay, now let me calm down because I've got this damn thing on my neck here. It's like, you know what my little brother and I used to do? You met PJ. You guys met PJ here. We would, when we were little, we used to always just try and pester each other, right? And we would take bananas and be eating a banana and just be like, you know, you make the smacking noise with the banana. You know, it just gets in your mouth. You just make all these retarded sounds, right? And we would do that, sneak up and hold each other down, just like do it in the ear, you know, with banana. That's what being brothers is all about. More life likes. Okay, ditch my DSP. Crossover and time alignment, more lifelike sound, near field listening with treated room fixes crosstalk. There you go. That's what Steve was saying. Masher looks awesome. Larry Danner says AES EBU is an AES. I gotta be quiet. I forgot I've got this right here. I'm so used to projecting because my microphone is typically over there. So now I can be like more. I can be more. I'm right in your ear. Pretty soon I got a boom mic coming. I got a Neumann on its way and a boom, but they're back ordered on the one that I want. And then I'll have headphones and a thing, so I'll be in. I'll know exactly how loud I am when I talk, because right now I can't hear myself on any monitor, right? So I have no idea how loud I am. But I do have automatic volume leveling on the mic turned on, so hopefully it's working. AES EBU digital cable, usually better than an RCA digital cable for sound quality. Not always. You need to try them both. With the digital cables, you need to try each one of them and determine which one you like better. So 23C is 73 degrees. Yes, 73 and sunny, man. That's a pretty good, that's good riding weather because you can still wear leather and not be too hot. The room is everything. Agreed. Great job, Shane. Yeah, man. Ian says, sat in the UK watching Mikey in the US talking to Shane in Oz. Tribe is truly global. Love it. You know it, Ian, man. And you're in UK, brother. You're part of the tribe in UK. Man, there was a dealer that I used to sell to in there. Where was he, man? Mark. Oh, his name was Mark. Oh, I can't remember. I'll tell you what about UK that I want to go see, man. I want to see some Isle of Man motorcycle racing. That's what I want to do. That's legendary. I would love to go to Isle of Man. Maybe I'll do it next year. That would be super cool. Yeah, I look calm on the outside. Don't we all, right? Got an audio engineer in with 6 high-end mics and spent 6 hours moving and testing speakers with acoustic panels in and out, and the result was mind-blowing. Worth the $5K in panels and time. That's not that much. If it's only $5K for all that, that's a pretty good deal. You said you were selling your mini DSP. How much do you want for it? Yeah, it's how we learned to survive when we were big and hairy and living in a cave. I was talking today about that, about like the caveman mind that we have that's like still left over from hunting and gathering. That's a whole different conversation. Recommendations for audio equipment repairs in New York State. I don't know. Oh, there is a guy in Jersey. He's like a Russian dude. Vlad? I can't remember. I don't know offhand. If anybody knows, speak up. Anybody from New York knows some good repair up there. So let's say it. Granite speakers need a soft pad around the tweeter area in order to not sound too bright. Too many square inches of reflective surface flanking the tweeter can make them too bright sounding. Yeah, Steve doesn't have a tweeter. Steve has a single driver. Steve is a single driver guy. So there is no tweeter. But yeah, and the tweeter is well, it's not a tweeter actually. He doesn't even use dual concentric. He uses full range drivers only. Absolutely couldn't agree more with getting your room right. Yes, that is true. Some open baffle designs look like somebody's outhouse is missing a toilet seat. Yeah, I said, or tombstone or something like that, you know. Hey, Mikey, what drivers does Stevie like? He uses, I'll let you respond to that, Steve. He was using some cheap ones that were in there when I showed up, and I know those drivers. They're good. Again, they come from the evil empire, but they still do sound good. Vandy's are time and phase correct. Just look at the step response, same as a single full range driver. Yeah, Vandersteen is a weird speaker company. I know there's so much science and art and testing and all that measurement that's been done on those speakers because the guy was really all about that, Richard. I've never wanted them. I've never heard them and gone like, oh my God, I've got to have them. And I don't get it. Because there's a pretty good following. Hey, Steve, great chat. Yes. Steve, someone's asking how much do you want for, Aussie, Shane, how much for the DSP? Hey, Steve, what full range driver are you using? Okay, we got it out. I had the Audio Monkey DAC. Oh yeah, that's right. You had the Audio Monkey. I was calling it Audio Monkey. Woosah. High res Studio Costa, not using a full range driver. Yeah, high res Costa, not using a full range driver. Yeah, not using a full range driver. So what Steve was saying here is you don't have to worry about that shit if you're using a full range driver. Michael Campbell asks or says, if possible, please keep the new OnTech long enough to make a sound demo vid, maybe even compared to other US DACs at similar price point. Oh, Michael, let me be straight and direct with you, brother. It's too much work for a silly $2,500 DAC. If you need convincing other than my word to spend $2,500 and I need to prove it to you on a video, you might not be the buyer for the DAC. I'm not here to convince anybody to buy a $2,500 DAC. And to sit here and pull it in and out, what it means is I'm sold out of these. I can sell more than the guy can make. Okay. So right now, I think I have a waiting list of 6 of them. I get 3 every 3 to 4 weeks. And people keep buying them. So people have to buy and then wait for 45 days. And then they put a deposit down, they wait 45 days. If I have to, I don't want to take one of theirs, pull it out of the package, unwrap it, just so I can burn it in for 2 weeks and then do a test and try and prove to you that it's better than another $2,500 DAC. I would say at this point, Michael, you need to just trust me. And just when I say something is killer, you need to know Mikey knows his shit. And Mikey's going to sell me something that sounds killer. And if you're not willing to take that step with me, then just maybe it's not the right time to buy it. Because I sell $25,000 DACs. Well, I guess I did do some sound demos with the playback designs. But for $2,500, it's not a risk. If you want to return it, you'll get all your money back if it doesn't do exactly what I say it's going to do. So you're covered. Quite frankly, I've already got more sales than I need. So the last thing I need is to get slammed with a whole bunch of more sales for the new OnTech. I really need to not have any more sales than I currently have for new OnTech. So there's no real reason for me to do that. So I apologize. I don't mean to be rude, but if it's something that if you're looking for a DAC in the $2,500 price point, I will give you my word, as 139 people are my witness right now, you won't find a better DAC under $5,000. This will beat every DAC up to $5,000 and probably higher, but I will commit to the 5,000. Thanks for your question though, Michael. High-res audio Costo, not with the properly implemented. Yeah, that's what we said before. Okay, Maggie's can be magical if set up right. Yeah, and that is the key thing. If set up right, that is the huge thing in there. And always had the quality since I heard them first in 1979. And Maggie's are absolute magic, but they must be set up right. They must be set up right. And they are not easy to set up. They're easy for me to set up because I've done it a million times with every different size and every different one of those. But Maggie's, or anybody that talks smack about Maggie's, I just think they don't know. I hate to say it because I know someone was just on here saying, people don't have vocals in the back of their neck or whatever. That's just poppycock. Magnapans sound freaking phenomenal. And if you can't hear it, then don't buy them. Buy a box speaker. I'll sell you a box speaker. Big Time Radio says, would be interested in hearing my thoughts on M-Labs DACs. Not a problem. I've been curious about them in relation to playback design since they are both using DSD and both well regarded. Absolutely, I can tell you a clear distinction between the two. The M-Labs DAC is the most stupendous imaging DAC with the most discrete ear candy type imaging I've ever heard on any DAC. In fact, so much so that it is overdone for me. In other words, it's so detailed and everything is so in its own little orb of sound. What I liken to, if we're going to visualize this, it's like having the sound stage in front of us, and I've got reflective chrome, like Christmas ornament orbs, and each sonic part, or each sound, the guitar, the drum, the vocal, the tambourine, whatever, it's its own little orb of highly reflective, like a droplet of candy droplet that I can see in the soundstage. I can actually hear around it. It's like very distinct and like an orb of sound. They are all extremely distinct in the M Labs. In fact, they're so distinct that I keep triggering, my mind keeps tripping on, listen to that, wow, listen to that. It takes my attention away. And it is a very much a bunch of component parts rather than a cohesive picture. The Playback Designs doesn't lose any detail, but it has more of an organic, natural feel where there's a coherence between all those orbs are coherent, so it becomes one thing, which is the music, the musical composition. I'm not understanding the musical composition because in the M Labs pursuit of making something detailed, ear candy, it crosses a line to me, which makes it distracting, and it is killer for demos. And it's for a dealer, it would probably be such a good piece to have in there, because people that aren't used to hi-fi would hear that and trip out like, oh my God, I've never heard anything sound like little candy droplets in the sky. Well, yeah, so they buy it, right? It causes an impulse purchase. But when you get it home and you listen to it time and time again, you start to get fatigued with that much of a presentation. It's overdone. It's like contrast being cranked up on a TV. After a while, your eyes hurt and they start getting red because it's too much, man. It's overdone. You need to have that film quality texture to it. That's what you get from Playback Designs. It becomes a musical composition. It becomes more natural, more organic. One trips you out on the sonic presentation. The other puts you right in the lap of the music, and you are connected to the music. So it depends on what your trip is. If your trip is sonic presentation analysis, then you want the M Labs. If your trip is music enjoyment and you want to listen to music and hear the stories and connect with the artist, then Playback Designs is your clear choice. They are extremely different, even though Andreas from Playback Designs, he created all the M Labs DACs the first 3 years that M Labs was in business. Those were all Andreas designs. Then Andreas broke off. Andreas did the front end, the digital stuff. Ed did the back end, the analog stuff. And together they made a great team for M Labs. Then Andreas left. He got Bert Gerlach, who does phenomenal analog output design. And the Dream series was born. And so many of the algorithm, that's why, as you point out, the M Labs is very similar to Playback Designs in that it's a DSD DAC. It takes all the incoming stuff and converts to DSD, and it's FPGA based, and so because it's an Andreas design, so it's a granddaddy Andreas design. Now, Andreas, of course, in my opinion, is the best existing digital music engineer for DACs. I don't think there's a better mind out there for designing DACs in terms of connecting to the music. I think Andreas has a very good grasp of how to connect to the music, and that's portrayed in his product. So again, it depends on what you're after. If you're after the music end of things, or if you're after sonic presentation analysis, because sonic, M Labs is going to sound like ear candy all day long. It's going to be these candy droplet things. But again, it was too much for me and it was distracting. So I hope that helps. Okay. Shane says, I couldn't agree more. The Chi-Fi stuff is just pretending there's nothing that comes close to Playback. It's just, okay, I couldn't agree more. The Chi-Fi stuff is just pretending. There's nothing that comes close to Playback Designs, in my opinion. It's been my opinion too. And people love to debate it, but they've never had a Playback Designs. That's why. And they're probably sore that to get something that good, they have to spend 24 grand. They're upset because maybe they can't do 24 grand. I get it. It sucks, but I'm never going to have a Porsche Turbo, I mean, I'm not going to spend 250. I should never say never, but it's like, I just need to realize Ferraris aren't for me. I don't get them. Okay. realistically, if I want to bend over backwards, I could make one happen. But so at some point and then you want to talk crap about it because you can't have it. So I think that there is a little bit of that with people that want to say that a Chi-Fi DAC is as good as MPD8 because MPD8 is not within their means. So they're upset about it. So they have to pitch China to us, but there's you can't pitch China. I mean, even if the Chinese DAC was better, I still wouldn't buy it. Okay. Because I have integrity and I have values that I don't compromise for stuff like cheapness. Okay. Like to save money. I don't compromise my values to save money. I would rather not have a DAC and go to live music instead and not have anything in the house than to compromise my integrity and my values. So there we go. Sorry. Yeah, Mikey, going off. Love it, brother. Keeping it real. Yeah, I know there's a little delay. I'm getting through these things, but yeah, breathe, Mikey. I know I had to take a goose for ba. Yeah. More like Barry White with that mic. Yeah. I gave you the close up. Tom says Tommy's a little biased because he has Maggie's. And here I was only asking about the shootout of 5K plus DSD DACs. Yeah, sorry, Zipper man. I come a little unglued, but Chi-Fi is a hot button for me. I don't think it's good for our market or our hobby in any way, shape, or form. All it's good for, and this is becoming less and less, is for a cheap way to attain hi-fi, and it is rapidly changing to just as expensive as other stuff. You said 5K plus, so I'm assuming whatever your thing was you're talking about is over 5K. There should be no Chinese DAC that's made under those conditions that should be that much money. That's too much money for something made over there. But they are selling it direct with no middleman, and they're taking the full stroke. So even the business model is jacked up. There's nothing cool about it other than people that think they're getting a good price. But even at 5K for something made in China, you're not getting a good price. It's $1,000 made in China. So anyways, so sorry for coming unglued, but that's how I feel. Mikey, when are the new Veristar RCA cables coming out? I got AudioQuest made in China. I didn't know. I know, it's anything. Look, anything made in that kind of a volume, you have to make it in China. But you know what? I've seen a lot more companies these days having things made in Vietnam or Taiwan, which is definitely not China. Now, Taiwan is cool because Taiwan is true Chinese people, but they're not under the thumb of the CCP. I mean, they sort of are, but not really, right? Like they're under the watchful eye, but they don't get jailed for practicing whatever religion they want. So, Taiwan, thumbs up, right? But China and the CCP, no, thumbs down. But if you need to have something made in a super huge gazillion pieces at a time, where else are you going to go? You kind of have to go there. So I would, if I was AudioQuest, I'd rather just whatever. They have a different business model, and it's nowhere near what I value. It's something different. But I'm sure they make a lot of money. Not gonna lie, I buy Chi-Fi crap while I save up for good stuff. I get it. At some point, you may have to. I mean, Daniel, so that everybody is clear to your means. Daniel, what is your whole rig worth? Like, is it even $1,500? So when you're buying $100 DACs, you have to buy Chinese. There's nobody else that will make $100 DACs, but they should stay there. And I'm not saying even at that point you have no choice. It's like the phone. I mean, this is supposedly made in Korea. It's Samsung, but it's probably made in China. But what choice do I have with the cell phone? Can I buy an American-made cell phone? Maybe. I have a way to find American-made jeans. My jeans aren't made in China. None of my clothes is made in China. Maybe this T-shirt is. It's a Harley T-shirt, and you'd be surprised. I was in the Harley dealer the other day. I was looking at the clothes, and it was all Chinese. Even the motorcycle helmets. I mean, you guys suck, man. What? Talk about selling out, you losers. American marquee. With all this Chinese shit. Soundsmith can do repairs. Soundsmith. Okay, cool. So there's somebody talking about up in New York. Steve says it's called a Whizzer. That's right. Whizzer Cone, Tang Band, 1808. It was actually better than the ScanSpeak and Lothar drivers. I've heard Lothar is overrated from a lot of people. Lee Audio, I don't know what that is. Steve tried 5 different full range drivers. Yeah, that 1808 is a great driver. Yes, it is. Good stuff. What was it about Vandersteen's you didn't like? There was nothing that I didn't like about it. It was there's a group of audio equipment that to me, it's just good sounding. There's nothing, I can't say anything wrong with it, but it doesn't entice me. It doesn't wow me. I just go, okay, nothing wrong with this, but I don't want it. It doesn't make me, the good stuff, I'm like, holy shit, I've got to have this. Like, how much are they? Like, I want this. So I'm just saying, I've heard Vandersteen. Another one is a Legacy Audio. Many people love Legacy Audio. Never did it for me. I go into the rooms. I'm just like, yeah, it's good. Sure, it sounds great. But I don't want it. It doesn't make me want it. Another one, Pass Labs. Great stuff. Great stuff. Pass Labs, huge respect. More respect for Pass Labs than any other brand that I don't want. But I've never gone into the room and gone, I want that stuff. So it's just one of those things, man. It's just vibrations and just like what you want or not. And Vandersteen's didn't tick my radar, man. Or my whatever, my little meter, my Peter meter didn't go up, So Steve says, not really cheap driver at $400 each. Oh, well, shit, they've gone up then. I like them because they have the right parameters, neomagnets, and only 9.6 grams of moving mass. Yeah, okay. So when I bought those, maybe they're different, but they were Whizzer Cone. What are those things called? Tang Band. They were like $180 each. Mikey, Happy New Year to the tribe. Thanks, Lowell. Same to you. Thanks, Steve. Look forward to seeing your Granite open baffles. They are pretty cool. Ouch, $400 a driver, but you get what you pay for. I'm sure it's a badass driver. Yeah. Tried these a bit rolled off above 12K and not as fast. Fine last gem, M Labs. Oh yeah, there you go. And the gen before that, Mikey is not wrong about latest M Labs flagship. Yeah, that's just what I heard. But yeah, if you get the earlier stuff, it was Andreas's design, and Andreas's playback. So there's no wonder. I went full range driver 25 years ago, never looked back. Oh boy, man, I got to bust out my Feestrex then. I got some Feestrex field coils and some Tungar power supplies. I'll pull them out one day. Shane says, absolutely, Mike, the difference between playback designs and MLab is absolutely as you describe it. You almost took the words out of my mouth. That's how I hear it as well, right? It's like that's how it is. It's just like, oh my God, the first second you hear it, the first 15 seconds you hear it, maybe 30 seconds you hear it, a minute, I'm like, I'm sold. This is crazy. Oh my God. And then I realize what it is. Then I go, oh, wait a second. I can't calm down. I can't enjoy the music. Like I was real blown away by those big boobs, but now I realize they're not moving because they're plastic, so maybe I'm not so into them. So, same thing with the M Labs. It's got all this up front, this flash that you're just like attracted to this shiny thing, like, listen to all the orbs. But then you're like, this isn't what music sounds like, man. So yeah, Scott, Steve is hooked on full range drivers. Tangband's Taiwanese company that builds some of their drivers in China. Go figure. Okay, cool, man. Taiwan is totally kosher, man. I'm down. I'm on with Taiwan. Absolutely. Andreas is a weapon when it comes to digital. Yes, he is, man. The Fartin full range drivers made in France are Feltin. It's Feltin if it's made in France or however the hell you say it. Also, the Cube audio drivers. Yeah, Cube is sweet, man. That's for sure. Nenufars. Let's see. Daniel says, what I hate about Dayton Audio USA company, most of their drivers are made in China. Yeah, same with Eminence. But some of their best drivers are made in Taiwan. That's cool. Waiting for Elon's phone. Yeah, man. We can plug it into the back of our skull. Dude, you got to get those Feestrex out. They need to sing in those Townsend super tweeters. Yeah, I can put them together with that crossover. Yeah. Whizzer cones. You mean like the OEM 6x9s in the back? Yes, that's right. Those are Whizzers. Yep. They have this little thing on them to keep the reflections from going on to, or whatever. That's, waveguide. Anyways, it's an hour, 30 minutes, guys. I got to run, man. I can't stick around. Time for Mikey to go put my feet up and chill and watch some documentaries or something. Anyways, oh my God, I watched a documentary called Bitconned, Conned. You guys have to see this. It's on Netflix. It's called Bitconned. And I'm telling you, this thing is the most ridiculous. These kids were 20-something years old kids that created this crypto thing in the beginning of crypto. Just watch it. You are going to absolutely laugh at the audacity and the balls of these kids to do what they did. It's ridiculous how far they got by just being idiot kids. Like, it's unbelievable. So anyways, that's called Bitconned, and it's on Netflix, and you guys got to watch it. You'll get a kick out of it. Talk about hustlers. Oh my God, these kids, total hustlers, man. Anyways, all right. Well, thanks, Malcolm. And I will see you guys all soon. Thanks for joining, and see ya.